Here is part 2 to the DIY skirting. Here I am just measuring out the 2 little leftover bits from this area. I had to figure out to cut them in between those 2. Here I'm just fitting the other side, and then I cut the little corners. Here I glue them in using some of this glue thing, and then I filled in any little gaps with wall filler. Here I was just cleaning up the edges and filling in any kind of woody areas so they're nice and flat. Then I waited for this all to dry and proceeded to sand it all down to a nice flat surface. Then I taped some masking tape down and did a coat of white paint just to give it all a uniform colour for the pink paint to go on top of later. And then once that dried, I went over with the first layer of the pink paint. And then I did the other side as well. Now these 2 were done. I remember that there's still this little corner that I completely forgot about. Now we realised that the flooring was cut a bit too close to the wall, so I had to find this smaller piece of moulding / skirting to fit in that little spot. And then here I was trying to figure out how these 2 will fit together. I would have to glue and sand this little piece down a little bit higher than the other one, so we'll be floating a little bit, but we won't be able to see that once the little beading goes on. So here, using that glue, I stuck them to the wall, and then once again with wall filler I filled in all the holes. The wall filler went everywhere. I had to clean up the floor and I had to clean up the wall, and then I let that dry. Then the next day I sanded it down, and then masking tape went down and the first coat of white paint went on, actually the only coat of white paint. And then the next day all I had to do was paint that over. So I did the second coat on the other 2 sides, and I did my first coat on this side. This was all done, and here we have the finished DIY skirting boards. They don't look too bad.